All right. So welcome to Not Your Typical Recruiters podcast, episode 5. I'm Jason.
I'm Karen.
And we have a special guest again.
Hi. Thanks for having me again.
Miss Lynn.
You had so much fun last time, so we had to bring you back.
Fun.
That's right.
I'm so glad. This is going to be a good one, though.
Well, you guys, we are Not Your Typical Recruiters podcast, and we talk about everything travel nursing and more. So we talk about everything about life, health and wellness, finances, all the good stuff, the Lakers.
The Lakers, of course.
Which, by the way, how are they doing right now?
They're doing all right. We're doing all right. We have some ups and downs. You know, we just had a really bad loss to the 76ers, but, you know, that's okay.
A whoop ass.
That's okay.
Whoop ass.
Hey. Your Seahawks are not doing so hot, so let's.
I told you before this, we're not talking about the Seahawks.
Yeah, we could talk about them.
Jesus,
you know, you lost to my Rams, and we were trying to lose.
And he's still talking, you guys.
I'm still talking about
he's
it.
Still
Anyway.
Anyways, well, this episode, you guys, this episode's going to be a lot of fun because we have collected so many of your questions that you guys wanted to ask us. You know, we're always asking nurses questions about their experience and whatnot, but I know a lot of you guys are very interested about us and about our perspective. And we're so excited to have you back and for you to even poke us about questions. So
excited.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I have my list here, you guys.
Jason's going to answer the first one.
Oh, is he?
Bring it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I would like, I think all of us, we want to know, what does a recruiter do?
Oh,
exactly.
man.
Okay, what do you think we do?
Yeah, it's a better question.
So from my experience, what I think is you guys are constantly looking for the right rates.
That's fair. Yep.
Constantly looking for the right match for whichever nurse that whoever you're working for, and it's multiple nurses. That's how I look at it.
Wow.
She nailed it for us.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Answer that question. I mean, I've had a good experience.
So basically, you really kind of answered that. We have jobs that we look at that are hot. Some jobs are, not as hot as others. And so for the jobs that we feel would be a good fit for certain people, we definitely want to make sure that they're aware of the jobs being available, matching the right people with the right situation. That's really what the job is. And it's a lot of fun. It's actually really exciting because it's really spontaneous. It's random. In any moment, you get an email with like a crazy rate and you like get excited to tell like someone that you know is looking for a job, like, hey, look at this. And then sometimes you get like a really good response like, oh man, yeah, let's go for that job. And then sometimes you go, did you see that? Hey, did you check your messages? Did you check your email? Like, yo, you see that job? And they're like, no, I didn't see it yet. And then they look at it and you still like, all right.
You're not excited.
You're not as excited as I was.
Yeah.
All right, well, fine. Yeah, so that's part of it though. And that's, again, it's exciting. It's almost like when you get somebody a gift, right? And you don't know their reaction to it. So until they open it, it's a pay package. They open the pay package and they're like, oh yeah, I like this. Let's go.
Those are always the fun ones.
Right. So then you get excited even more because they're excited for the opportunity. Does that opportunity always come to fruition every single time? No. But that's the reality is if it did every time, where's the fun in that? So
right.
Yeah.
The opportunity.
I think it's important, which is why, Jason and I we're so different than a lot of recruiters. I mean, I think we come from a great team of recruiters, but overall, I think our goal has always been get to know the nurse, get to know what they like, get to know what they love. What are your goals? Right? Like, I want to buy a house. I want to do this. I want to do that. Or we have other nurses that are like, I just want to experience, I come from a small town and I just want to experience the city, and that's all they want. Like, yo, we'll find you that job. Some people are like, I hate the mountains. I don't like the lakes.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll find you the ocean, so that's our job. It's all about supply and demand because the facilities have these needs. We'll find you the supply.
Yeah.
Which are nurses.
Oh, well, thank you guys for answering that. Thank you. Okay, so
Hopefully they answer that question.
Yes.
Yeah. So now it's Karen's turn. What you got, Karen?
Okay.
Oh, God.
So what do you guys look for in a nurse when it comes to working with a new nurse You know, once a nurse, you know, contacts you guys.
You said ideal?
Yeah. Or, I mean, what is your expectations, or, you know, like,
My
because
number
you don't
one,
have to work with everyone.
flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Flexibility, especially if it's a first time
Yeah.
nurse. I mean, like, listen, I want to get you day shift
I was about to
only,
say.
highest paid. You know, you get it right in your schedule.
Yeah.
You know, you can have all your weekends off, or, you know, I mean, listen, and not to float to med surge or whatever it may be, right? But
Can they really request that in the contract?
a lot of nurses
Have requested it.
But-
Absolutely.
Okay,
Is
I know
it
they have,
easy?
but has a hospital actually accepted? I'm just curious to know. If they
I would
have.
say
No.
there's been a few in my experience.
Wow.
They have to be
But
really on the
here's the
spectrum.
thing.
Yeah.
But here's the
Especially
thing.
not
Straight
now.
up.
A
Yeah,
lot of my
no.
nurses do get that when they extend.
Right.
Because when you extend,
They know how you are.
they
already.
know who you are. They know what you like. I mean, unfortunately, there's favoritism within
Yeah,
a
that's
hospital,
everywhere.
and so like they'll
Yeah.
cater to you, especially if you are that nurse.
Mm-hmm.
If you are the unicorn of all unicorns when it comes to nurses, they'll roll out the red carpet for you, right? I mean, in my experience, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
But first time around, like they don't know who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, why
And
are they
so,
gonna
like,
do-
why would they do that?
I'm glad you brought that up. That's a really good point
Yeah.
to bring that up.
So
'Cause
I
some
think
people, they shouldn't come in asking those
Right.
requests, having those requests. So
But I mean, don't not ask, right? Like
Right.
there's no harm in us asking, hey, if that's what you want, we'll ask the facility. But chances are it's gonna be a no. Are you still gonna be willing to
Take
take
that
the
job,
assignment
yeah.
or the position?
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
sometimes,
thank
you know, sometimes they may get that call for that place that they want. They had these outline, you know, parameters like, oh, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that. But they may hit it off a lot of times with the person that calls them for the interview, and then they're like, well, I know I didn't want to float here, or I didn't want to work this shift, but the person who called me seemed really cool, and the way they described the unit was really cool. So therefore, I still really want that job.
Wow.
And I always say, win the interview, because there's no harm in you winning the interview,
Yeah.
because that's what the goal is. At the end of the day, you may not get another offer from the other place that you may submit to, but you want to win the interview.
Yeah.
Even if you don't necessarily want the job,
Yeah. Yeah.
you want to win the interview, because who wants to go into anything and lose,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have that opportunity automatically. Just because they called you doesn't mean they offer you the job.
Yep. That's true.
You might say, you know what, I'm on the fence about it, and then go to sleep and then wake up and say, hey, I actually do want that job. Well, guess what? You lost the interview.
Yeah.
And you let them know that you were on the fence.
Yeah.
I always say, again, win the interview, then you have an opportunity to either accept or decline.
Right.
But if you just lose in the interview, you don't have an opportunity anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true. Wow, that's good. I like this, you guys. Okay, so what's the hardest part about being a recruiter?
You go first.
The hardest part, you know, I would want to say when someone takes an assignment and they start the process, let's say they're knee deep in it and they've already put down a deposit, let's say on housing. And I mean, this doesn't happen as often as it did in the past. In the past, then they're put in a situation where the hospital says, we don't really have this need anymore. Oh, yeah. And so now you have a nurse who saved up their money, put their money down. You know, they did their part. The recruiter did their part. The company, agency did their part. The hospital also did their part, but no longer has that need. And they can't afford to put that person at work. So it's kind of like, all right, well, how do you navigate through that? So to answer your question, that's one of those situations where it's like, it sucks. However, working for the company that we work for, we've helped accommodate and a lot of times even replenish what the nurse had put up in order to help them not end up in like a full-on deficit.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So I'm one of the reasons why I love working for the company I work for
that's
is
awesome.
because of that.
That's awesome.
They have the nurses back, they have our back, and so the integrity is on a different level. So yeah,
That's awesome.
but that's probably the worst to me.
Oh,
Karen.
yeah.
I think a lot of times it's things that I like to be in control
Right.
of a lot of things. I like to be in control of, the process with nurses. But there's so many things that a lot of people think that we have the control of, but we don't. When it comes to the facilities and how fast things move. Like, trust me, when nurses get submitted, people are like, so when do I get an interview? I'm like, when the manager's about to give you a call, like I have no control of what a manager can and cannot do. And so that's probably like the most challenging aspect.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And people think, oh, it's probably like a difficult nurse or something like that. No, it's just the process.
Yeah.
Things that we have no control over.
That makes sense. I can understand that. Let's see here. What do you think the outlook of travel nursing is in the coming year?
I think it's better than this year. That's my opinion.
Right now, I can tell you where we're at right now. And right now is facilities are trying to recruit like all the money that they've
Put
given
out.
away
Yep.
in the past years. And, I'm not going to name names, obviously, because we want to keep it somewhat PG on here.
Yeah.
But there are, for example, there are facilities that owe agencies like us money. We already paid the nurse. Nurses work, we pay the nurse. It's by law. But there's a lot of facilities out there that still owe us money.
See, it's stuff like that we need to know.
So,
I never even thought about that.
There are some facilities that don't even have resources and supplies. And nurses are calling us. They're like, Karen, they don't have anything here. And they don't have the money, nor do they have the budget, whether they mismanage their finances or whatnot.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, so.
And that's still going on right now.
That's still happening. And you have to realize that they were operating under a different budget where they had outside resources, getting them extra funds. So now this year, when that went away, they're forced to operate under a much, much, much smaller budget. And now they're trying to figure out how can they keep the same amount of people on this much, much smaller budget, which is what the trickle down effect was this whole year that a lot of nurses are experiencing. So it's like some places, like Karen just said, they have debt. Hospitals have debt too.
Yeah.
And it happens, and it's not necessarily a specific person's fault all the time. It's not really like a finger pointing thing, but hey, they were receiving, X amount of dollars, and all of a sudden they get like an email, hey, we're no longer getting that.
Right.
Wow, so they're forced to react. So it's domino effects, like boom. So that's just where it all happened, and that's where it is. But I feel that now that it's been so many months, and they've had to adjust, they've been given like no choice. Some places manage their finances a little bit better than others.
Right.
And for those particular facilities, they will continue to do well.
Yeah.
And they will continue to provide great care for their patients and be able to maintain the staff and the travelers that they have. And others will suffer due to that.
Wow.
Right.
That is.
But I think,
important.
Gosh, I think, Lynn, you came in 2020. I mean, and I'm going to speak on rates just because I know nurses that listen, that's their one thing that they want to hear about are rates. Rates, even at a slow point right now in 2023, 2024, still higher than 2019, way higher than 2019.
Yeah.
And so our job counts down. Actually, job counts are up. You know what I mean? There's a lot of jobs out there. It's just a lot of nurses that jumped in during 2020, 2021. They came in and now they have this expectation like, oh, rates are high and this is what it's going to be like for the rest of my life.
It's not.
I'm here to tell you guys, it's not, So.
That's why I hope they were smart.
Yeah.
So living your lifestyle, going to Bali every month is not ideal. You guys
Save some money.
Yeah.
save your money.
Yeah. Straight up.
That's a good question, though.
Yeah. Thank
Take
you
some
guys
good
for
assignments.
answering that. Okay. I'm gonna ask you guys one more. For both of you,
Okay.
what was the worst nurse experience you had to deal with?
I got a lot. You go first, dude. You go first.
Now you going first on this one. You definitely going first on this one.
Oh, I guess
'Cause
this
I don't
year.
have
Oh
that.
no.
Well,
Okay, I'll tell you this. This is a good one. I wouldn't say good one for me. So I had a nurse that got terminated. This is years ago, and he got terminated for telling a patient that he doesn't speak soy sauce.
Oh,
mm,
that is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
And he's been working with me
Whoa.
for quite some time,
What?
but not knowing I'm Asian American.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, he didn't know I was
Whoa.
Asian American.
I didn't even know this story.
So during this time, this is before like DocuSign and all that stuff. I mean, this is how old Jason and I are, right? So before DocuSign, nurses, when they get terminated, they would have to come to the office and sign paperwork. And my job was to meet him at the elevator. So I was like, oh, snap. So I met him at the elevator, and he didn't even look at me in the eye. He just kind of like bypassed me. I'm here to meet with Karen. And I was like, I'm Karen. He was like, no way. His face just went like stone cold and was just shocked. And from then on out, he just did not look at me at all. He just looked down.
Wow.
But yeah. And so over the phone, before he realized, all of this, I asked him, did you say that? He was like, yeah, I did. I was like, no remorse. He's like, I don't know. I don't see why that's a problem. And I was like, okay, this is the last time I'll be working with you.
He wasn't from California, was he?
My goodness.
No, he's not from California.
Yeah, he was not from California.
So that was probably one of my worst experience.
Wow.
Face to face with a nurse.
Wow. Wow, that's really, I'm sorry.
That is tough.
How about for you?
Man, I don't have one that's like on that level, honestly. I would say, someone just going ghost. Like back in the day, that would happen sometimes. You would have someone have a start date, have an orientation, and then just not go to work. And you like, wait a minute, you just got an opportunity to double your pay for, and
what did you do,
didn't
though?
show up.
Yeah, like how does that work?
So then you call their emergency contacts. You try to make sure you hope that the
do a
person's
wellness
okay.
check, right?
You do a wellness check.
I've done that
So
before.
yeah, exactly. So you do a wellness check.
Which means
You call the emergency contacts. You try to figure out
you
if
call the
they're
cops.
Yeah, well,
we had to call that. We had to
well,
call
I didn't have
cops,
to. I
right?
didn't have to get to that point.
Okay,
So,
okay.
that particular person had a significant other, a wife, and so I called his wife, and then the wife was like, "Oh yeah, he's busy right now," so he was just.
Oh, so he's alive.
He was fine.
Okay.
He was just busy and just decided to not show up to his assignment, at all. And then, 2 days later, he called me and was like, "Oh man, my bad. You think they'll still take me?" And I was just, this was when I was only a few years in, and I just was blown away by him just missing the opportunity completely.
And thinking he's going to get another chance.
Right. And so I just, that didn't go over so well.
Wow.
With me. I remember feeling like, that wasn't a good feeling.
That wasn't,
That sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Not as bad as yours. Nowhere near that.
Yeah, I'm
but
sorry.
But
still.
I had a similar situation. We had to call the police just to make sure that they were alive. And they were. Oh, which is fine.
Yeah.
She still follows me on Facebook.
Here's a funny situation, actually. Because I wouldn't say it was the worst, but it was one that was just bizarre for me. And it was actually my very first ever nurse that I ever got to talk to that was actually like really serious about working, but wasn't initially. So it was a Friday. I'll never forget this.
Okay.
Because this particular person I'm still in touch with. And it's really funny to me still to this day. So on a Friday, I call this nurse and she picks up the phone and curses me out like nobody's business. Why are you calling my phone? Don't ever call my phone. Da-da-da-da. I don't know where you got my phone number from. And I'm just like, whoa, hold on. I've never spoken to you before. Like, I'm just calling to see if you're interested in working, blah, blah, blah. Right? So I'm thinking, my goodness. So I remember hanging up the phone, putting in a note in our system, just saying, hey, nobody call this person, right? So come Monday, there was 3 voicemails. 1 left for my boss, 1 left for me, 2 left for me, and 1 for my boss. So saying completely the opposite, saying, I have a job. I want you to help me facilitate this position, and it's available to me, and you need to call this specific person. So complete flip 360. So I was just like, are you sure? So my boss told me, because he was excited. It was the first time we had someone that, you know, I was new. And I was just like, this is nowhere near normal. I'm literally, my head is spinning like what? Like, are you serious? So yeah, absolutely mind blown. Yeah, I call her and she was completely different. Oh, hi. How are you doing? And yeah. I'm like, do you know you cursed me out the last time we spoke? Like completely flipped out on me. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do all that. And, yeah, completely acknowledged the fact that she cursed me out, but then went on to say, hey, you know, I actually want to work with you. And I was scratching my head.
That's really interesting.
And I just thought that person would not start their position. Not only did she start, she kicked butt. And to this day, like almost 10 years later, we're still friends.
Wow.
But yeah, that was like.
That is a bizarre situation.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had anybody curse me out before.
Yeah. Cursed me out for no reason. It was the first time I ever spoke to her, and then was super happy to work with me afterwards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Any last questions?
I think I'm asking one more. Let's see here. Just one.
These are actually good questions.
Okay,
very good.
I appreciate you guys answering these, really. What do you think makes you different from other recruiters?
Oh.
Because you guys are not the average recruiters.
Not your typical recruiters.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Not your typical recruiters.
I think we listen.
Yes.
I think being a recruiter, people, I mean, obviously it's a people skill that we, you know, what we do, but there's a lot of people that lack listening. They don't know how to listen, you know, and talk over a nurse. I think if anything, we listen and we advocate. Really
Definitely. And have empathy for what they may or may not be experiencing in their current situation. I think actually caring more about the person versus the position.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
like we see them.
yes, like
Nice.
when you address any situation and you have a person that's like going through something, whether it be they're really excited in order to do this, or they're really sad, or they're really down, because life happens and it happens to everyone. You know, people pass during the time that you're working with them. Sometimes you have all sorts of people get injured.
Yeah.
You know, people go through, you know, life-changing experiences. So being more than just a person that's like an employee, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having a person that's there to, like Karen said, listen to you, see you for who you are, and understand that you're a human before you're a nurse. You're a human before you're any of these other things. You're, you know, so I think that's one of the things that we really value.
Nice.
Is, you know, valuing the person.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you, Lynn. And thank you for all of your questions, you guys.
Yeah, those are great questions.
We're going to keep this short. And so again, we are Not Your Typical Recruiters podcast. Check us out on YouTube. We will be on other platforms like Spotify coming soon. So if you guys have any questions, hit us up on our Instagram. Jason, what's yours?
RN_recruiter_CA.
And mine's what is mine? Nurse Recruiter KLE on Instagram. So hit us up if you guys have any questions. Until then, have a good day, you guys.
See you soon.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks, Lynn. Thank you, guys.